Had some people telling me, Al, why don't you jab anymore? I'm like, what do you want me to jab at? What do you want me to jab at? Can't beat a team over 500 if their life depended on it. Today, it's a little cleaner. That jab's a little nice. People seeing me here at the arena, they're wondering what the hell am I doing? What's going on, everybody? Thank you very much for being a part of the postgame show. Fun game this afternoon. Really, really fun game for the Lakers. They handle business against the New York Knicks, 110-97, and they finally take down a top-tier opponent, a really good team in the New York Knicks who are playing some really good basketball. And finally have a signature win. It's been a long time since the Lakers had a signature win. By the way, my apologies if the laptop is moving a little bit, but there's a lot going on here when you're at the arena. So thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you guys being a part of the post-game show. Please do me a favor as we get the show started. Please, let me see here. Are we seeing all this? Okay. Now we're making sure we're live on everywhere here. However you're tuning in, whether live, recorded, on the iHeartRadio network, on some of the other platforms that we're using, AM 570's Facebook page, AM 570's YouTube page, however you are tuned in right now, I really appreciate everybody being here. We've got a lot to get into in this postgame show. We got a lot to talk about. Obviously, I came to the game today, so I'm here at Crypto.com. Picked the right game to come to, and looking forward to breaking down this game with everybody. Feel free to put in as many comments as you guys would like. I'll try to do my best to get to the comments. Of course, that's always a big part of the show, and always like to get some reaction from Laker fans. So let's kind of get into this here. We could give our overall thoughts on the game and just go from there. Again, feel free to throw as many comments as you guys would like, and I'll do the best I can to get into to some of your comments. All right, just real quick on the game. Not real quick, actually. We're going to take our time and how long we take talking about the game. 110-97, the final. Lakers, I thought it was so important for them to come out and not play from behind against the New York Knicks. There's a guy I'm sitting next to here that covers the Knicks. Never met him before, but, typically in some of these games you come out, you meet the people that you're sitting right next to, and I was like shooting the you-know-what, especially if it's with the opposing team. And asking him, I was telling him how I was surprised with the Lakers start. And he was telling me, he's like, yeah, the Knicks typically slow, they start off slow, but they'll get into more of a groove as the game goes on. So I'm just kind of waiting for the Knicks to start making a run. I'm waiting for the Knicks with Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby and Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns and Jose Alvarado. Go down the list. They got a lot of talent. Listen, if the Knicks could 100% be in the NBA Finals representing the Eastern Conference. Now, I wouldn't pick them, but they can be. That's not a stretch or anything like that. So as the game progresses and 8-point lead at the end of the first quarter, it's like, hey, that's a really good sign for the Lakers. They don't have to be the team playing from behind, which happens a lot. Halftime, Lakers are up 5. And I thought the third quarter was going to be so important. And honestly, based on what this guy was telling me, it's like, no, the Knicks – they'll roll up their sleeves and they'll get going in the second half. That third quarter for the Lakers, absolutely lockdown defense from the Lake Show. 34-20, they outscore them. They outscore them by 14 points in that third quarter. And the thing that just stood out to me more than anything else is the only thing that matters in this game. And I went and listened to JJ Redick right after the game and just got a quick clip, kind of his first answer of what he thought was the difference in how the Lakers got the win. I know you guys want to look at, and it's everybody's tendency to look at what guys did on offense for the Lakers. Don't pay any attention to what the Lakers did on offense tonight. Don't pay attention to that 35 points from Luka or 25 from AR or what any other player did on offense. The only thing you should pay attention to in this game is literally just pay attention to the Lakers defense. And that is 100% how they got the win, why they got the win, and why the Lakers finally got a signature win and against a team over 500. They locked down. They were everywhere. The Lakers were everywhere on the defensive side of things. I'm actually look here. I'm kind of curious here as we look. How many steals do the Lakers have? Lakers had 10 steals and 5 blocks. To compare that to the Knicks, let's just take, add both sides of it up. Add your steals, add your block shots. 7 steals, 2 block shots for the New York Knicks. For the Lakers, 10 steals and 5 block shots. And I'll tell you, I'm sure there's a lot of deflected balls. I'm sure there were possessions by the New York Knicks where they had to shoot up a three at some point, at any point, just to obviously beat the shot clock or take a bad shot. Lakers were just excellent on the defensive side of the ball. So as I sit here and I try to break down this game for the Lakers, I can't get very far, and it's the way I should start out the show by just simply saying Lakers won this game on the defensive side. They were brilliant on defense. Look at the Knicks' offensive numbers. They shot 43% from the field, 24% from the three-point line. They were good from the free throw line, 90%. But that's how you give yourself a chance to win this game. You give yourself a chance because you set the tone on the defensive side. You at least got a chance to kind of control the game in the sense that you were up for, I don't even think the Knicks had a lead. Did Knicks have a lead? I'm trying to think off here. No, Austin Reaves got the first bucket. I want to say Austin Reaves got those 3 fouls or the 3 free throw attempts on a shot. I don't think the Lakers ever trailed in this game. So Lakers were brilliant on the defensive side. It was just great to watch because they were scrappy. That's not the way I describe the Los Angeles Lakers. You know, I know I've probably been very critical about them, and you got to be critical. If I'm going to be doing a show like this, a post-game show, reacting after every Lakers game, getting an opportunity to do a show in the morning, obviously I got to be honest. I can't, there's no reason to not be completely honest. But I've been very critical that if they're in a bar fight, they're going out the back door. They want nothing to do with it. They're not trying to go 12 rounds with another team. They're trying to go 3-4 rounds, and they're going to hope that that's enough, and maybe the other team gives up. That wasn't the case here with the Lakers tonight. Lakers went 12 rounds. Lakers were the ones that were definitely the initiators. Lakers were the ones that were the aggressors. Lakers were the ones that wanted to muddy the water, and that hasn't been Lakers basketball this year. So to see that in this game, a 12:30 start, obviously the Lakers coming off that game against the Indiana Pacers, the second of a back-to-back. This is 3 games in 4 nights. This was a really impressive win. This was one of the better wins that we've seen from the Lakers all season. By the way, I don't want to hear, well, Knicks were just missing a lot of shots. So were the Lakers. It's not like Lakers were perfect from the three-point line. It's not like Lakers were perfect from the field as well. And I don't care how they really got here. This is an impressive win because it also wasn't one of those games where there was some type of fluke. There was no, some Hail Mary at the end. No, they controlled the entire game. And the only time the Knicks made a run, and it felt like the Knicks were on a run, Lakers were still up 11. I don't think they got closer than 10 to the New York Knicks, even in their run there towards the end. So, again, phenomenal stuff. Really, really nice win for the Lakers. And like I mentioned, had to mention how good their defense was because their defense was phenomenal. All right, let's talk about some of the offensive players. I thought Luka, I asked this question to Austin, or I asked this question to JJ Redick pregame. I asked him if he thinks Austin Reaves is being too unselfish since he came back from his injury, and just seeing obviously some of the numbers that were down. And I was curious to kind of get his thoughts. Would he like him to be more aggressive? I mean, I think in Austin Reaves' blood, he's not a selfish player. Definitely a team first guy, definitely wanting to do anything that he can to help the Lakers win. And I think it's clear, when you're watching him play right now, there are a lot of times where he gets out of the way. He's like, all right, well, Luka's on the floor. I'm going to get out of the way. Okay, LeBron's on the floor. I'm going to get out of the way. Well, tonight, obviously, or this afternoon, obviously, LeBron was not on the floor. And I don't know how much that had to do with it. I know there was a stat that ABC put up, so we'll get to that stat here in a little bit. But whatever it meant, he was more aggressive. And he did look like he was in a little bit more of a flow state. And frankly, to be honest with you, took 16 shots. I think he could have took 18 to 20 shots. I'd have still been happy with that. 3 of 6 from the three-point line. Had a couple opportunities to get to the free throw line as well. 25 for Austin Reaves. Granted, most of that was in the first half, but that's okay. You just want to see Austin Reaves looking a little bit more like the Austin Reaves that was there earlier in the season. We haven't seen that in a while. So 25 for Austin Reaves right now is actually a breakout type of game. So I think the 25 is big time. I think obviously what Austin Reaves was able to do tonight, it was just refreshing to see. I thought something JJ Redick said in the post game. I thought something that he said, which is very interesting, is he said that he was physical on offense. He said a lot of times you can be physical, but people just look at physicality on the defensive side. But he was talking about Austin Reaves was physical on the offensive side. So obviously that's a big part of what Austin Reaves was able to do today. And I want to compliment Austin Reaves because everybody's got their eyes on him. Everybody's watching Austin Reaves on a night in, night out basis. Reaves has got to do something not only for the team, but also for himself. He's got to play the final quarter of the season, and he's got to be very, very efficient in doing it and be as close as he can to the player that he was earlier in the season. Lakers need him to do it. They're not getting anywhere without Austin Reaves, and tonight was a good sign for him to do it against the Knicks, especially because the Knicks got a lot of guys, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges. They could throw a lot of different players on you. And obviously, Austin Reaves was still able to have some success. So I thought that part was huge. Let me point out a couple other players here real quick. I thought DeAndre Ayton early in the game was a nice presence for the Lakers. I felt like you actually felt his presence. And I know maybe people are a little thrown off by me giving love to Ayton here this early in the postgame show. I know he only took 4 shots, but I'll give Ayton a little bit of credit. His 6 and 8. I thought he did a good job early in this game, 2 block shots. I thought he made Karl Anthony Towns' life. I thought he kind of stepped up to the plate in regards to trying to guard Karl Anthony Towns. I thought he did a pretty good job in regards to doing that. Okay, a couple other guys I'm going to get into. By the way, if you combine Jake LaRavia and DeAndre Ayton, which at this point you might as well just start doing that, you got 12 points. Or no. You got 11 points. 12 rebounds, and no, Jackson Hayes did not. No, 12 rebounds. I'm right on that. So basically you're looking at, you combine the two together, 12 points and 12 rebounds. And the only reason why I'm combining them is because I think they're going to start splitting their time more and more. I don't think you're going to see just this dominating minutes from DeAndre Ayton. Okay, a couple other things I'm going to get into. I'm going to start looking at some of the comments here in just a second. Rui, another 13 points. I thought provided some great spacing, was back in the starting lineup. Go from there. Luka with his 35, 8, and 4, also had 6 turnovers. You know what I realized in today's game? I realized that it might be a good thing that Luka's in at 15 technical fouls. I think he's going to be so cautious. Now, do I think he's still going to end up getting a 16 technical foul? Sure. I definitely think he's going to. But doesn't it seem like he knows he's got to be extra, extra cautious, just obviously based on having the 15 technical fouls? So maybe it works to the Lakers' advantage. We'll see what happens there. And then the last player, you could just chalk up Luke Kennard for having a good game because he seems to be having a good game every time he plays for the Lakers since the NBA trade deadline. So 12 points for him, a steal, 4 of 8 from the field, and hit 3 big-time threes for the Lakers again. So gives everyone just a quick idea in regards to that. All right, let's start looking at some of the comments again. My apologies if the laptop shakes a little bit here, but anybody that kind of walks through this area, steps-wise and everything else, from where I'm sitting, the whole kind of surface shakes a little bit. So that's why that's going on. All right, let's see what we have here. Let's see what people say here. Rui played exactly the way we needed. Let's get another one here. Oh yeah, by the way, the one thing I didn't put on here, the Knicks, I think 19 turnovers. How many do they have? You got to keep them turnovers under 15. 20 turnovers usually gets you beat. I would say, yeah, I'd say 15 to 18 is still a lot too. You really want to be around 12 turnovers is the right number. Let me see how many turnovers the Knicks had real quick, because they're sloppy, by the way. If that's the class of the Eastern Conference, I don't know what to tell you. Knicks have been kind of balling out. They've been playing really well leading up to this game. They were not good today. Nothing impressive that I saw. Nothing impressive. I'm sure a lot of Laker fans. And listen, maybe it was just a bad game for them. They did play in Denver a couple of nights ago, but they won by 39 in Denver. And maybe what they really did was they had a Saturday night in LA, and maybe that got the best of them. Whatever it takes to win. That's what it takes to win. I think the Lakers will take advantage of it. All right, let's see what we have here. Slee, now did you sneak into crypto arena? I'd like to think for my 10th year covering the team that I could still get in a crypto.com arena without having to sneak in. So I'm hoping that that's the case. All right, let's get a couple more in here. A couple more comments here. 25 points for Reaves is good versus a physical defense is always a good thing. I agree with you. And a lot of teams, when they play, typically when they play Austin Reaves, and I don't blame them, even when they play the Lakers, they try to out-physical them. A lot of times the Lakers go up against teams like the Phoenix Suns, teams like the Houston Rockets, teams like the Boston Celtics, Orlando Magic. I'm just naming off some of these teams that the Lakers have played recently. There is a little bit of the San Antonio Spurs. You got to be physical with them. And I think a lot of teams out there try to be physical with Austin Reaves, which they should. But that didn't seem to bother Austin Reaves tonight. Guys, that's the thing I'll probably walk away most with tonight. Well, two things I'll walk away. Really, really good team defense, and just a nice performance from Austin Reaves. So of all the things that we could look at in today's game, those are the things to really walk away from. But Austin Reaves, obviously having a good game was great. Even Ayton played with effort today. I agree with you. I thought he did good on Karl Anthony Towns, specifically in that first half. He challenged Karl Anthony Towns. I thought the Lakers set the tone, and we've watched enough games of the Lakers where setting the tone is not exactly the Lakers' strong suit. All right, let's get a couple more in here. And then I think there's a stat here that a lot of people want to talk about. We're going to do that as well. I better see some punches. Let's do some roll call. Okay, we'll do some roll call at the end here. I don't got a problem with that. No problem with that. Thank you for the super, Francis. I appreciate that. And I did. I already had a couple of jabs in, tore my rotator cuff. I'm out 3 to 6 weeks. I will not be doing the post-game show for 3 to 6 weeks. I don't know how long I'm out for because I threw 3 jabs and tore a rotator cuff. Okay? I'm having Tommy John surgery off a jab, just off 3 jabs. All right, let's get into a topic. I saw this stat, and I know there's a lot of people that want to hit on this specific stat that ABC put up. I'm going to do that in just a second. Let me first give some love to one of our partners. Shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. I'm so appreciative of them being a partner on this channel and obviously a big piece of our show and what we're doing here. One of the cool things about this partnership with Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm, he's a big Laker fan. He really, really wants to help any listener out there that's looking for an injury attorney. Serious injury, wrongful death case. If it's you, a family member, or a friend, I'll keep it simple. I don't really need to, obviously pitch this too strong. I know not everybody needs an injury attorney every single day. But if you're in a situation or a position where you need some legal representation, or you just want the ability to at least get pointed in the right direction, here's somebody you can trust. Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Go to that website, get an absolutely free consultation, and hopefully somebody can obviously help you out. And I'm happy to make an introduction to Brad Wallace and the Wallace team if that's needed. So there was a stat that came out, and I'm sure a lot of people in the comments, at least I saw for a quick second when I was looking at some of the comments, felt like wanted to hit on this. Here's a stat that I saw on ABC. By the way, ABC, I mean, how ready were they to put out this stat here? It says the Lakers, 8-2 record when Luka and Austin Reaves are on the floor together without LeBron James. I want to say that was before this win, so I think that record is now 9-2. And they said a plus 13.31 net efficiency. I mean, geez, ABC, can you give it a second? Can you let the game end before you start putting up stats here, basically trying to start this conversation about, well, the Lakers won because they didn't have LeBron James. All right, we have some of that conversation. Obviously, look, I think it's a fair. First off, the stats are the stats, and if you have a stat saying, "Hey, they're 9-2 when Luka's the number 1 and AR is the number 2, and then all the other players are role players," then you got to pay attention to that stat as well. You got to ask yourself the question. It's funny. I was thinking about this before the game. I was like, well, if they get blown out, which, if I'm being completely honest with you, I thought what happened tonight was going to happen the other way. I thought the New York Knicks would jump out to the lead. I thought they would be the ones that were the aggressors. I thought they would be the ones that are playing better defense. I thought they'd be the ones that are walking into the fourth quarter with a comfortable lead and maybe close it out at the end. And Lakers are kind of playing from behind. Flip the script completely. Now, do I think the Lakers won this game because LeBron James is out? I don't think that. I don't think that's the reason why. But I think if people want to look at that stat and say that's an interesting statistic to point out, that when Luka and AR are the two, that's one and that's two, and everybody else is role players, I'm sure stylistically they play a lot different. I'm sure the New York Knicks also really, I just assumed LeBron was going to be playing, which also kind of concerns me a little bit that maybe this is a bigger injury than not. But I think everybody just assumed LeBron was going to go, and he was a late scratch. So I think the Knicks probably had a game plan for LeBron to be in there. And if they had to play again tomorrow or on Tuesday and LeBron wasn't in the game, then maybe the game wasn't going to look exactly like it does. But there's certainly some advantages when LeBron's not on the floor. I think there's going to be more of a flow on the offense. I don't think having LeBron, Luka, and AR together is a good idea, which is why I've proposed bringing AR off the bench so AR can just be more of himself. Look, you got to have role players. You got to have guys that understand their role. LeBron's not going to play as good as defense as some of the other players on this Lakers team. He's not going to give the effort you're probably looking for at age 41 because he probably can't do a 48-minute game. So I don't have a problem talking about that stat, but I would have an issue if people are saying, no, that's it. You got to get LeBron out of here. LeBron's not going anywhere. Now, if you want to make an argument and say, hey, this is even more of a little bit of a sample of what you could look at once LeBron is gone, you can make that argument. That's fine. That's okay. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I do want to see the Lakers turn that page and start a new chapter under Luka, and I think AR is going to be a part of that chapter as well. We'll have to wait to see what happens in the offseason. I'm not telling you it's nothing. 9-2 is 11 games, and obviously the what was the other? How did they title the other stat here? Just make sure that I get it right here. The net efficiency stat of plus 13.31. Okay, those are something. But I'll go back to it. I don't think this was a game where the Knicks were prepared or planned to play without LeBron James, which probably kind of threw a wrench into everything. And I think for the Lakers, whether they were ready to go for this or not, they looked like they were ready to go. And the defense was better and the ball stuck less. And a lot of that probably has to do with not just LeBron not being there, but just the mere fact that you have LeBron, Luka, and AR that are eating a lot of these minutes together. All right, I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of an overreaction here. So let's watch some of this overreaction unfold. Luka, AR plus minutes plus minus is awesome. Let's look at that real quick. By the way, this is, I've said this before. I've told this story before. There was a time that it was like the FIBA World Cup. I forget what it was, but Greg Popovich was coaching. And Kyle Kuzma, if you guys remember this a few years ago, Kyle Kuzma was a part of that team when he's still a Lakers. So I went to some of the practices they had and everything else. And I remember somebody asking the question about a plus minus. And Greg Popovich, one of the greatest coaches of all time, basically saying, yeah, I don't believe in that plus minus stat. He wasn't paying too close attention to it. I think there's somewhere in the middle here. But let me give you a good example of the plus minus. Marcus Smart had 5 points, went 1 of 10 from the field, was 0 for 5 from the three-point line, and was a plus 27 from the floor today. Let me explain that again, because this one kind of boggles my mind. How do you have a player go 1 for 10 from the field, 0 of 5 from the three-point line, 3 rebounds, 4 assists? His stats are nothing. His stats are terrible. But when he was on the floor, he impacted the game, plus 27 in the plus minus. So again, I don't think we could weigh everything on a plus minus, but anyways, that's a good example right there of a way to look at it. Austin Reaves, if you're looking, because I see this, Reaves and AR plus minus. Reaves was a plus 5 and Luka was a plus 14. Let's get a couple more in here. Thank you for the supers, guys. I appreciate it. Let's get this one in here from Savage. AR had Brunson in the kitchen cooking for him in the fourth. They did a really good job defending Jalen Brunson tonight. Keep saying tonight. Keep saying tonight. I even when I was on radio, if we had a day game, I always just defaulted to tonight. Jalen Brunson, 8 of 19 from the field. Do you guys see Mikal Bridges? Oh my gosh. Mikal Bridges had 0 points in 27 minutes. That means me, everybody else on this chat, we all did the exact same thing when it came to Mikal Bridges and what he did offensively for the New York Knicks. See how much the Knicks gave up for Mikal Bridges? This dude spotted a 0 on national television. But I thought they did a good job on Jalen Brunson. So clearly some positive signs there. All right, let's get some more of these comments here. It's too much when you have 3 similar ISO players, role players get more involved when it's 2 of them, and Luka and they are the 2 that have worked together the best. That's it. It's not LeBron's fault. This, to me, sounds like a objective Laker fan that you can have a healthy conversation with. Like, I want to have a longer conversation with whoever the hell is in this with this comment here, because I think this is a perfect description. It's not that it could be one person's fault. It could be that it just doesn't click. And it could also be, like you said, 3 ISO players that need the ball in their hands and they want to make decisions and they want to be the one to create for themselves. You only get 1 ball. I mean, we saw last season with the Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal. It doesn't mean it works. And those players, unbelievable talents. Doesn't mean it always works. So I think there's something to this comment right here, and I think being objective about it and not necessarily saying, oh, this is all LeBron's fault. And I haven't seen all the comments, but I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people on the comments today that are going to say, that's it. This is why LeBron, this is why, obviously LeBron shouldn't be on the team, or he's got to go, or bring him off the bench, whatever the case is. No, I just think you got a starting lineup that doesn't mix. And at the end of the day, if you want this team to, obviously look towards the future, puzzle pieces got to make sense. You can't just put together names on a sheet of paper and say it's going to work. All right, let's get some more in here. Lakers spoke volumes today. Everyone knows what it is. Great energy across the board. It's a good win for them. Really, really nice win. You know what I'm interested for? They got a game coming up against the Minnesota Timberwolves, which we're going to get into in just a second. But I want to get into more of these comments here. They got a game coming up against the Minnesota Timberwolves that obviously is going to be a big deal, and it's going to be a chance for the Lakers to, start gaining a little bit of momentum. Here's what I would tell you about today's win. Today, everybody, today. Here's what I would tell you. I would tell you that JJ said something post-game. He just said, I can't get too emotional one way or the other. He said, you guys can because you're the media, or you guys can if you're a fan, as you should. But he basically just said, like, we're not going to make a big deal about this. I think this win is a big deal. And I think what happens on Tuesday, and it's going to take more than just, one game here or one game there. What it's going to take from the Lakers is they battled against Denver. They beat the New York Knicks. It's going to take they beat Minnesota. They handled Denver again. They split the 2 games against the Houston Rockets. It's going to take something like that to change some of the narrative about the Lakers. And all you could do is one game at a time. And this was one of those games on the schedule where the Lakers were able to do that. Let's get another one. I do wonder if LeBron came off the bench with the second unit, how would that look? I'm open to all that stuff. I still think I'd rather have AR because Luka is so good. I'd rather have AR kind of run that second unit. Eventually, you're going to have these guys all playing together, and AR still going to play 30 minutes. But as much as I kind of push for that, and I think that that's a good idea, I don't think it's going to happen. I think we all know that. I loved James Worthy a couple days ago. He even said it on Spectrum during their postgame show. So that was kind of refreshing to see. So there's a piece of me that would like to see AR be the one that is the player that sacrifices and comes off the bench. And, obviously we'll see if that happens, but I think there's more of a chance that it doesn't happen. Smart going 1%. and is a plus 27. I, I don't know what to tell you. It is truly, that might be one of the greatest stat lines I've ever seen in my life. How's that happen? How does that happen? I don't know how that happens, but I'm proud of it. I'm proud of that. I'm definitely proud of that. All right, let's see what else we have here. Keep stacking wins. Lakers played the best game of the season so far, but it's at the right time. Well, they got a lot more. Listen, I'm gonna give them a lot of credit for tonight. But damn, would it mean something if they could go follow that up with another win against the Minnesota Timberwolves? So we'll see if Lakers are able to do that on Tuesday. Okay, let's keep going here. Got some more stuff we got to do here in the post-game show. Let's give a shout-out here to another one of our partners. Thank you to Harris Resort SoCal. HarrisSoCal.com is the website. If you're looking for a staycation, maybe between 1 to 2 hours of wherever you are in Southern California, whether that's in Los Angeles, whether you're in Orange County, whether you're in San Diego, wherever it is that you are, I really, really think you guys would love this resort. Not only are they a proud partner, but they got such a beautiful location. They're located in North San Diego up in the Palomar Mountains. We're going to do a post-game show from there on April 2nd. I'm going to give you guys more details when we get about a couple weeks out from the date. But really, really, really going to try and encourage listeners to come out. I'd love to watch a Laker game with all Laker fans and then obviously hang out for a couple of hours and then do a post-game show in front of everybody. So that's the goal down the road. But for Harris Resort SoCal, if you're interested in booking, there's a link in the description of this video. You get 20% off if you use that link. So if you're going to book and you're interested in a staycation, please make sure you use that code there and you use that link so you can get 20% off. All right, let's look at some more comments here, and we'll keep rolling with the show. Actually, no, I'm gonna shift gears here for a quick second. I am going to mention here real quick the next game for the Lakers. So Lakers got the Minnesota Timberwolves coming up. That game's going to be on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Love late starts. I mean, if you guys know me, you know I love late starts. By the way, Minnesota doesn't have another game. They lost their last game. They lost yesterday, got blown out against the Orlando Magic. And they don't have another game until the Lakers game coming up on Tuesday. So they get a couple of days off here. I should have Alan Horton, who does radio and some TV for the Minnesota Timberwolves, join my show coming up on Tuesday so we can break it down. So I'm looking forward to that. But that's the next game for the Lakers. 8 o'clock. Why do it at 8? Just do it. You might as well do it at 10 p.m. Go later. I mean, if we're going to do this, let's just do this right. Let's do a midnight. Let's do a midnight tip-off from Crypto.com Arena. I'll do the post-game show at 3 a.m. 8 p.m. Listen to me bitching and complaining. Look at my job. I get to talk Lakers basketball and talk about the NBA, and I still find something to complain about. Jesus, Alan. Unbelievable what's happened to you. You got soft, Slee. You got soft, brother. Used to listen to you all the time. Now I never listen to you. You know? Just talking third person about myself. All right, NBA standings. Let's take a look here what today's game did for the Lakers as well. Here's where we are. So they move up to the number 5 spot, which, obviously means something here. Make one change here. There we go. They move up to the number 5 spot. They pass the Denver Nuggets. Interesting game coming up a little bit later today. The Rockets are at the San Antonio Spurs. I'm going to assume the Houston Rockets are going to lose that game because I don't have that much confidence in the Rockets. And if they do lose, then the Lakers will be half a game of the number 3 spot. Now, I'm going to go back and we could say the same thing that we've been talking about for the Lakers. It's not going to come down to where they are in the standings. For the Lake Show, it's really going to come down to, are you beating good teams? Because if they're a number 4 seed, but they're still losing all these good teams, it's tough to have confidence going into the playoffs. But if they're a number 4 seed and all of a sudden they started beating really good teams in the last quarter of the season, then, you might just look at the Lakers differently. I'm not telling you that they're going to go and get to the Western Conference Finals, but at least you have a little bit more confidence of them winning around in the playoffs, giving a headache in the second round. And right now they're still kind of trying to build some of that narrative. So they got some work to do in regards to that. But here are the standings. This is where the Lakers are. just to make sure that I got that game right. That's a game that I'm talking about. Yeah. Spurs and the Rockets on Peacock at 5 o'clock. So if you guys want to watch that game, get a little bit more NBA action, you're going to have that option coming up here at 5 o'clock. All right, let's spend the rest of the show just looking at looking at obviously looking at comments. I'm going to spend a quick second here. Laker Queen. Shout out for 10 Hoops Talk MVP memberships. Shout out for doing that. I really, really appreciate that. Very, very nice of you to do that. We do a member show once a week. I would love to get as many of you guys to be a part of an MVP membership, $3 a month. Great way to support the channel. But shout out here for making that happen. I really do appreciate that. So thank you very much for doing that. Gifting out 10 memberships. So thank you very much for doing that. All right, let's get some more comments. People are very generous when the Lakers win. When they lose, people get very angry. When they win, it's a whole different story here. I think LeBron runs better when he's not on the Lakers team anymore. Okay, very deep analysis there. I think LeBron, all right, let's get another one here. 3 ball-dominant players in the starting lineup rules the flow. I don't agree. I don't disagree with that. Ayton is the key, man. If he plays with energy, this team is good. Yeah, in a weird way, and I know a lot of people are not going to feel this way, which is fine. This could be just my own individual feeling. But in a weird way, I got a little bit of sympathy towards DeAndre Ayton. I get it. People are not going to want to sympathize. I get it. Taking in a good 30 and change this year between the Portland Trailblazers contract and obviously the Lakers contract. I understand. I mean, you guys don't have to feel sympathetic towards him. But so many negative storylines around him. And I think the thing that frustrates me the most is I don't think people are asking all that much from him. Just give effort. Effort on the defensive side. Effort on the rebounds. When you roll to the basket like he did a couple of times today, you're probably going to get some type of lob coming from AR or coming from Luka or coming from LeBron. Just do your job. Nobody's asking for anything special. They just want you to do your job. I thought his energy was, again, I thought his defense on Karl Anthony Towns was good, and I thought his energy was solid as well. The next game against Denver is huge because it's a tiebreaker. Yeah, I know Jamal Murray got injured in that game against the Knicks a couple nights ago. So how much of an impact that has, I'm not sure. But I don't think they play them, if I'm right on the schedule here, Tuesday against Minnesota, Thursday against the Chicago Bulls, and then Saturday will be against Denver here, and then the Lakers will hit the road. So it's not just the Denver game. I mean, listen, I think Minnesota tomorrow or Minnesota on Tuesday is huge. You can't screw up against Chicago. Those 2 games you have against the Houston Rockets, each one of these games are good. I'm not telling you they're going to win all of them, but I also know what you're talking about. Having that tiebreaker against Denver is certainly a big deal as well. Keep stacking up wins. We beat good teams without LeBron and the starting lineup. Big games in Texas tonight. We had Rockets versus the Spurs. Yep. Okay. So I think, I'm not too surprised, by the way, to see a lot of people give their opinion on the LeBron front. Once I saw that stat come up on ABC, I'm like, yep. Every single network's going to be running with that, which, by the way, I don't blame them. I mean, I'm obviously running with that stat as well. I think it's completely fair to say, okay, this is what the Lakers did when LeBron wasn't there. That's 11 games that he hasn't been there, and there's, obviously something to talk about in regards to that. But just the only reminder that I would tell you is you got to also understand that it was probably planned that he was going to play, especially when he sat without, didn't play in that Pacers game. So the fact that he didn't play tells me that there might be a little bit something there, or maybe he just needs one more day of rest, whatever the case is. But I don't think the Knicks were game planning to play the Lakers, and LeBron doesn't play against the Pacers, and doesn't play in this game against the Knicks. Now, either way, it doesn't really matter. Lakers got the win, and they look good tonight. So I get where people are coming from if they're trying to make the argument that the reason why they look good is because LeBron wasn't there. He is 41. He certainly has flaws in his game. There are flaws in this Lakers roster. There's flaws in the lineup. There's flaws in the starting lineup. So anytime that there's a change and you saw some positivity out of it, then let me give you an example. If AR didn't play and the Lakers beat the Knicks like this and LeBron was in the game, then people would probably say the same thing about AR. Maybe not. There's obviously a big difference in age and everything else. So maybe it's not apples to apples. All right, do we get another comment or two before we call it a day? Let's see what we got here. I knew the idiots would be in here bashing Braun. So sad. Bunch of aces. Again, if they're 9-2 without LeBron and Luka and AR there, it's impossible that it's not a conversation, and it's impossible for people to look at it and say it doesn't mean something. So I would say that there are some positives there, but I would always say that how do I put it? I would always also say that they need LeBron for a playoff push. Period. They need LeBron for a playoff push. And for those that want LeBron out the door, and by the way, that includes me next season, you're probably going to have your chance by the time we get to the offseason. So we'll end the show right there. I appreciate everybody being a part of the show. Thank you, however you tuned in on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, whatever the case is. I appreciate you all being here. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Would be awesome to have you as a subscriber, and then also turn on that notifications bell so anytime I go live or I post a video, you do get a reminder about it. Lakers over the Knicks 110-97. Arguably the best win for the Lakers this season. They get it at a time, obviously, where the Lakers are in big-time need of a win against a squad over 500, so good work by the Lakers. I'm back on tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Hope you can join me. We'll continue to have more of this conversation. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday, and I will see you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.